The saying too much of a good thing can be a bad thing cannot be further from the truth when it comes to the video gaming industry. Sometimes I'll look back at all the things that gaming companies have tried to take advantage of, and it's interesting to discover how they end up failing. It's okay to be inspired by a video game concept to create your own thing, but when you have a bunch of other developers trying to do the exact same thing, that's a clear indicator that the bubble will pop and what was once thought of as an innovative concept ends up becoming a cheap cash grab. Whether you acknowledge it or not, oversaturation in the video game industry should be avoided or else it will kill off gaming in general. The first and most obvious example that you are all probably thinking of was the video game crash of 1983. But just in case you aren't aware of what the video game crash of 1983 was, I'll just give a brief summary. Basically, companies like Atari and Coleco would allow any jackass to put games on their systems regardless of their quality. And you have to keep in mind that Atari and Coleco were just two examples of companies who did this. There was also Mattel, who released the Intellivision, Magnavox, who released the Odyssey 2, not to mention a bunch of other systems like the Fairchild Channel F, the Bally Astrocade, and I could go on, but you get the point. Eventually, the market was flooded with poorly programmed, overhyped games released on multiple different systems, which killed off interest in gaming for a lot of people. Even popular gaming trends can be ruined by oversaturation, though. During the 16-bit era, Sonic the Hedgehog was such a major hit for the Sega Genesis that many companies tried to emulate that success by creating their own mascot platforming game. Notable titles like Bubsy and Awesome Possum ended up being complete garbage, because they didn't understand what made the Sonic games fun, so as a result, they would usually end up with a game where you controlled an animal that could run fast like Sonic, but the level design didn't complement the speed of the character, causing a bunch of cheap deaths due to laziness or bugs. The same thing can be said about the monster collecting fad. After Pokemon became a huge success, you had Tamagotchi, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Fighting Foodons, Dinosaur King, Bakugan, Duel Masters, Beyblade, and yeah, sure, franchises like Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Still have a respectable fan base, but they pale in comparison to the marketing giant that Pokemon is. The other ones I mentioned are basically defunct because they were copying a fad instead of innovating a fad, which ended up making them products of their time and not much else. As far as a series being ruined due to oversaturation, just look back at the PS3 and Xbox 360 days, where titles like Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty have been the butt of so many jokes because of how often a new game gets made, to the point where nobody takes them seriously anymore. So now you might be wondering, well, how do you stop oversaturation? And the answer is a lot more simple than you think. The only way to stop a video game series, video game concept, or even a video game genre as a whole from being oversaturated is by your wallet. If you don't want a fad to exist, don't buy into it. If you're mad that the developers and publishers of one of your favorite game series jumped onto a trend by changing up the gameplay of it into something more mainstream, just don't support that latest release. That way, when the people who made the game realize that it didn't sell worth a crap, they'll go back to handling the franchise how they did before. So to wrap up this video, I'll conclude by saying that even though there will still be fads in gaming that come and go, I feel like it's important to understand that abusing certain concepts will make them become samey, and not as enjoyable as they once were. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you agree or disagree? Be sure to leave a comment down below and subscribe to my channel for more content.